Everybody, I'm going to do a classic sound check here so that I don't talk to myself for 10 or 15 minutes, which I've been accustomed to do in the past. So here we go. Let's get a sound check and then we'll get started. Sound check, sound check. Anybody just say something on somewhere that's connected to here so I can see it, and then we'll get moving. I'll wait. I'll sing like a little song or something, or put on some hand lotion. I don't know. What are you guys doing? Come on. Sound check, please. Sound check, sound check. Maybe nobody can hear me, and that's why there's not a sound check, which I guess would be really difficult to have a sound check when no one can hear you. Still nobody coming through with the sound check. 49 seconds in. Sounds good. All right. Here we go. Thanks, everybody. I think 4 came in at the same time. Thanks, Ken. Thanks, Genre and Galrox, I guess. All right, so we're going to get started from the top. This is called an AMA. My name is Kevin Murcko. I'm still CEO and founder. I guess you can always, I never not be a founder. CEO, you know, who knows? But founder, I'm always going to be a founder. So this is an AMA. That stands for Ask Me Anything. You ask a question, I answer it. It's pretty simple. I already see some questions, so I'm going to jump right into it. Pop it up here. Charter McFarterson. I'm sure that's a real name. You know, benefit of the doubt. Hope all is well. Do you believe we actually have entered a bull market, or could this be a final rug pull? Whales are trying to get in before everyone realizes the world's in recession. I don't think we've entered well, if you use the standard definition of a bull market, which is a 20% rise, which you can't really use in crypto, but I mean, if you wanted to use that definition, yes, we're in a bull market. Do I think we're in a bull market? No. Do I think we'll probably see another pullback? Yeah. Now, we are entering an election year in the U.S., so I'm just going to pull this off because I feel like it's cutting my head off. We are entering a U.S. election year. There's never been a U.S. election year that hasn't been billed, at least by the incumbent party, the ones that are in power at the time, as, you know, having a great economy, even if that's a bold-faced lie. And so I do believe you're going to start to see, at least when it comes for media coverage and the narrative, start to shift, especially towards November of this coming 2024, that the economy is amazing. And in many ways, it may be a self-fulfilling prophecy. We will start to see parts of the economy get better. Inflation will start to lower. You may even see some rate cuts out of the US, UK, etc. But I think we're probably going to see a bull market come 2025. You have the halving coming in the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter in 2024. Usually what we've seen historically is about 6 months after that, 6 to 12 months after that, you start to see the kick in of price action in relation to the narrative around the halving. And that combined with an election year, especially depending on who wins at the end of the election cycle in the US, is going to dictate a lot of what happens. So no, I don't think we're in a bull market yet from that perspective. Also don't think it's necessarily a rug pull, but can you imagine to work together with a tax consultant company? Yes, I can imagine it. I can imagine pretty much anything though, to be honest. But Leo, yeah, I can definitely imagine it. We've actually talked to some in the past. You can download CSVs for things like Coinly and one other service that are compatible with those services. I do believe in the future we will have a further integration with a tax consultant's kind of reporting entity. So yes, answer to that one is yes. Hi Kevin. Hey SGJD15. Are there any plans to list BitSensor, Tau? If so, is there an estimated time when it'll arrive on the platform? If I check my crystal ball, which I conveniently have right underneath this monitor. It's actually not a crystal ball. It's a magic 8 ball, and it's saying all signs point to yes. So there you go. Can you give any insight on the? I guess you mean integration here, Ken? Integration. That might be a word, man. My vocabulary, I can't say, is the biggest in the world. I don't know. That could be some SAT word I never encountered. Also, will it affect any licenses or agreements to make CM and Ignium one? One, as in like conjoin them. Okay. So for me, this is just for me. And yes, I'm the founder and I am the CEO, but that doesn't necessarily mean for me means for us. but for me. What Ignia means in the long run is having the ability. Imagine an exchange where, as a company that's looking to be listed on an exchange, you could come, either launch something equivalent to an ICO, whether that be a security or not. You could get listed. You could fundraise within your own community that you build through tools provided to you by the same platform. And you'd have those tools to be able to use to create options programs, to be able to raise money in the future, to create debt, to sell equity, etc. And at the same time, maybe even gamify your community to be more integrated with your own product. And I think that, for me, is long-term vision of Ignium. Short-term would be to get Coinmetro equity online and running. And so that, it's there now, but it's not so much integrated, as you say. The full integration, I don't think it would necessarily affect any license or agreement, at least at this current juncture. But that doesn't mean that wouldn't be an issue in the future. And so, yeah, that's the long-term vision. I think is a few years away. Short-term integrations, 2024 at some point. Have you looked at Hivemapper, the Coin Honey? I think it would be a good addition to the gems that we have. I haven't, but I saw that you mentioned in Telegram, so I think Oliver might have already passed that off to our listing committee. So we'll see. I think the app looks good job on that. Thanks, Ken. I appreciate that. I'm sure product and everybody involved in that will also appreciate it. So cheers, man. Funding update. Did you surpass phase 1 with any of the potential investors? How many of them are you currently talking, and are they big tickets? So we have right now 2 funds that we are in, I would say, late stage talks, but it's really about trying to find what the best avenue is for both parties. And that gets a bit complicated simply because it might be just an investment. It might be more of an investment board seat kind of thing. It might be just advisory. It might be a combination of advisory to potential shareholding. Could be a combination of that plus investment. Could be some type of merging with other properties in their portfolio. There's lots of stuff going on there. I'm still taking calls, usually have at least 1 or 2 a week for whether it be VCs, family offices, etc. I would say, obviously, narrative's starting to change again in crypto, so that's good. That's good for us. It's good for us fundraising. We also have a major, I think, update that's coming. And I say update. I think it's an update because I'm not sure to call it an update or a bit of change in focus that's going to be coming and becoming public to you guys in the near future, Q1 next year, which I think will dictate a lot of what this fundraising is going to look like and how we will be fundraising in the future when we need to, either at, let's say, a satellite level, meaning like one regulated entity within the group, or at the group level. Those 2 entities are big tickets, both of them. I also just recently had a call with a regulator connected to sovereign wealth, and so those talks will continue. That's fairly new, but anyway, those talks are going to continue. Also, we've had talks of a potential merger, which now has morphed into more of a potential, let's call it biz dev. But that biz dev could mean us gaining access to a larger client base and being able to offer to our client base services that we don't plan to offer, but we will have a revenue share on them. So increasing revenue. And there's a few other things in the pike like that as well. So license in Dubai. So we got the pre-approval. You guys already know about that. We're in the process of talking to law firms, putting together documentation, and getting the company, et cetera, established out there. I think the timeline for that is going to be March of next year to get the full approval. Heard you, Wintermute. And I also think my magic 8 ball is saying that ask again later, maybe. But ask again later, I think, on the, I don't know what you call the thing inside the 8 ball. I don't know how many sides it has. I don't know if it's a dodecahedron or I don't know why dodecahedron was like the word that popped out of my mouth. Dodecahedron, which I think is what, 28 sides? Maybe. Anyway, I don't know what you call the thing inside the 8 ball, but I'm pretty sure the ask me again later or something is right on the cusp of either yes or all signs point to yes. I don't know why I answered that question that way, but sorry or not. I don't know. Moving on. I think I answered that one, but I didn't, but I kind of did. I alluded to it, I guess. Did I allude? I might have alluded. Sounds good. Okay, that's when I asked for my sound check. Thanks, guys. What's the formula for Mars? Is there any way to calculate yield across various tokens in relation to a number of XCM in the token? There's absolutely a formula. There's absolutely formulas involved in Mars. Each token has a different formula. Why? The profitability of each staking program is different, vastly different for us. Some we make money, some we don't, some we lose money, but still offer up a portion to Mars. Overall, the goal is that we make money, obviously, but that we also give the most back to the client, to you as a client that we can. So it's a bit more complicated than just one single formula. There's absolutely formulas, but obviously those things aren't public. And because they can be dynamic, it's probably more confusing to make them public for most people. Your light in the room looks more warmer, more orange. It looks nice. Well, that's because, let me see if I can. I had my Star Wars lightsaber happens to be set to orange. But yeah, there's. I'm becoming a lighting genius. I got to tell you, if this whole CEO gig doesn't work out, yeah, lightsaber, scenic lighting or something, mood lighting. I think lightsaber mood lighting would be my lightsaber mood lighting.io. I think would be my next venture. Thoughts about Cadena rebranding? Thoughts about reactive network potential? What's up with Caspa? Pump seems scammy and real. Hey, Duncan, liked your list of questions, and I'm glad you numbered it because this way, hopefully, I won't miss one. Thoughts about Cadena rebranding? Well, rebrands, we've all done them. I kind of feel we did like 100 here at Coinmetro. I think we only did one, really. Maybe two. I think we did two. We did two rebrandings to the logo, at least, but one major rebranding. But anyway, natural. And I think if they think it's the right time for them, then I have to assume it's the right time for them, right? They know more about them than I do. Funny thing is, what I just said, like 20 years ago, would have been only meant one thing. Now, if you play that out of context, I don't know what I just said. Thoughts about reactive network potential. So I've always thought the boys at Parsec, boys and girls, I should say, at Parsec, that's another thing. I might just put my foot in my mouth. Have done a great job. I think their product was before its time. And I think eventually it's going to get to a point where it becomes more and more integrated in lots of different Web 3, Web 4, Web 5, Web 6.8 projects. Because the services it offers hold a lot of value and untapped value, I think, so far. So the whole tokenomics thing and, IQ and now reactive, I don't have much of an opinion on that because, to be honest, I haven't dug much into it yet because, well, there's nothing really to dig into yet. It's just kind of an announcement of a future announcement, future change. I think if it's done right, it may be spectacular and may lead to everybody just having a smile on their face. I think it's great that they're going mainnet. I think it's going to allow them to do other things. They'll be able to bridge to different, to other L1s and L2s. They'll probably be able to up their game in terms of the product or services they offer. All that stuff is good. They had a lot of focus on token PRQ during the last bull run. Then after the bull run, they started focusing much more on building out their business, which is awesome, which is what they should have done. And now I think they feel that there's going to be another bull market, and now they're going to be focused back a little bit on tokenomics. And that's also probably the right thing to do. So let's see. Let's see over the next weeks and months what happens. Yeah, but I think it's a good move. What's up with Caspa? Yeah, look, any token that reaches out to me on every single media possible and then has a bunch of fake accounts reach out to me and say, why don't you list this? And then tags me every other day for five weeks. I'm always a bit skeptical of. Now, that could have meant that a legitimate company went and just hired an influencer group that, is kind of scammy. It could also mean something else. And I don't know what it means because I didn't spend enough time to really pay attention. I don't even know what Caspa does. I haven't looked into it. I think the price moves there look a bit unnatural. That doesn't really mean anything other than the fact that I wouldn't be trying to day trade it. Let's put it that way. Our liquidity coming back to XCM coin so that we can swap XCM to something else, or is the coin dead? Coin is definitely not dead. Nah, there is some amount of volume. Obviously, it's not enough volume to deal with the amount of pending sell orders. XCM is still, I think, and I think this I think is very close to we think. Most people at Coinmetro, including everybody at the top, and I think pretty much everybody on the way down as well, looks at XCM as one of, if not the most important product in our ecosystem. It's been difficult for us to kind of right the wrongs that partially were caused by just what happened in the market, partially were caused by obviously some errors on our side, and some things maybe we would have done different if we could go back in time. But our time machine, unfortunately, you'll notice my Back to the Future hoverboard. It ran out of whatever quantum juice it needs to power up, and I haven't been able to get in my time machine to go back and pick some up. So obviously I haven't been able to go fix the wrongs of XCM. I tried once, it was a butterfly effect, and I don't know, Cardano went up like 35% one Tuesday. So you're welcome. But realistically, XCM is important to us. It's an important product. I think it's the most important product to us. It's going to get attention that it needs. We've been working towards resources in a lot of places in the business. Some we've gotten more, some we now have less. XCM is a big part of a big plan you guys are going to hear about in Q1 next year, very shortly. XCM reboot, getting the market back liquid, getting more ways to bring liquidity to XCM that isn't just getting market makers and liquidity providers and, you know, blah, 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 blah. It's a much more comprehensive look, and it ties into a very long-term roadmap for Coinmetro. So the coin is not dead. It won't be dead. It's definitely not dead now. It might be, it's been taking a rest, sitting back, might have took a vacation or two. It's got a bit of a tan, probably got sunburned, had a little too many mojitos one day, maybe might have tripped and, you know, got a bit of amnesia for a few weeks, might have been in a bit of a coma, but definitely out of that coma now and recouping and learning how to walk again and going back to its daily job as a, I don't know. I'm going off on a tangent. Point is that XCM is good, man. I'm really this show this week or this month, I should say. I think there's going to be a lot of memes, man. I'm getting that feeling. I don't know. Maybe that was that tea I drank this morning. What currency is most likely to flip USD, and what would it take for that to happen? What timeline? Could it be BTC? What currency is most likely to flip USD? I don't know how old you are. Howam Kodya. I'm trying to figure out if there's something that I just said there that I don't realize what I said, and now that's also going to get memed. I don't think there is a currency that currently exists in the world that will quote unquote flip USD. Now, I could go off on a tangent. I could go on for a long time about this one. Maybe you should DM me about this and we could talk about this offline. But USD is not perfect, but it's antiquated into a lot of systems around the world, a lot of settlement systems, etc. It is not that easy for you to go from USD to no USD. People will tell you when you talk about currency empires and how long currencies usually dominate, that historically speaking, it's about 100 years. And they're not wrong, but the context is different, right? Because 100 years ago and 200 years ago and 300 years ago and 400 years ago and 500 years ago, we didn't have automated systems. We didn't have so much globalization. We didn't have a connected world. And so while I do believe some point in the future, the USD quote unquote empire will end, I do not think it's going to end in my lifetime. And how, depending on how old you are, it might not end in yours. There have been, let's say there's been pieces of the wall chiseled out over the last 20 to 30 years. You can go probably back to when, which most people will go back to, whether it's whatever side of the argument they're on, of when the gold standard was kind of pushed away. That might have been one of the first kinks in the wall. You could talk about the BRIC nations and other things starting to buy oil with different currencies, etc. Now, all that stuff is little pieces of the wall, but there's still a big wall to get through. And so, yeah, in the future, I would expect that there's going to be a currency, has to be a single currency or one currency that's used by several different nations that then take on much more political power than they currently have. That could be something like BRICS. Do the BRIC nations currently have enough power and political sway in probably the next 5, 10, 20, 30 years to do that? I don't think so. But, maybe the next 50 to 100, they may. Does it mean it's going to be BRICS? No, but that's, you're talking about some relatively large economies that have the potential to grow and also probably don't like the US dollar. Definitely don't. What would it take for this to happen? Well, it would take either under normal circumstances. When I say normal, that can mean wars, that can mean all kinds. That's normal. Having wars and having breakout wars and having political issues and having saber rattling and all that stuff, that is normal. It would take something abnormal and very abrupt to change, let's say USD dominance. I don't think it would be BTC, no. Right now, BTC does not have anywhere near the liquidity, accessibility, price action, infrastructure to take on US dollars or any currency for that matter. Regular symmetrical and convex icosahedron. Wow, I don't know if that was a response to something. That's definitely not a question. At least I hope it's not, because I'm not sure where to start on that one. Any updates on being able to deposit USD? Yep, have an update for you. Maybe not exactly the update you want. Working on credit cards. I think those have the potential to happen between now and end of January, early February. Maybe much sooner than that, but that's that window. When it comes to ACH, we've finally been able to get a solution in place in terms of, yes, we know we can move the solution forward. That just happened yesterday or the day before, somewhere in that realm, this week. It's going to take 3 months for us to onboard, and I'm hoping we can do the API integration within that same time period. So we're sitting in mid-November. We have mid-December, mid-January, mid-February. That means probably March. But it should be a good solution. We should be able to offer different settlement options that we weren't able to offer in the past. I can't give you specifics because this is a business decision we haven't made yet. But think of normal ACH, same day ACH, and guaranteed instantaneous ACH. The last one having probably a percentage price, but also chargeback protection for us as a business, which is a great thing. But also would also mean that you would be guaranteed that we weren't going to have an issue, thus you don't have an issue. So also kind of beneficial for the end user. And then you could choose between, paying a very low fee for normal ACH, which may take 2 to 3 days if you're not in a rush, same day, which would clear the same day if done by a certain hour for slightly more money, or the percentage for instantaneous. So yeah, good news, just it's going to take a bit more time. 20 faces. All right. You're up. Thanks, Harold. I knew Harold was going to come in with this. Dodecahedron, yeah. Dodeca is 12. Yeah, you're right, man. Polydecahedron. I don't know. Would that be 50? Would that be 60 sides? Yeah, there you go. Thank you. So I get so that's a regular symmetrical convex. Okay. I shouldn't have said dodecahedron. I don't even know why it was the first thing that came to my head. It's definitely bigger than a dodecahedron, I think. If liquidity at XCM won't rewind soon, the exchange might not survive. This has been a question every AM since the price floor. I'm actually worried about my massive investment in CM. Hey, Monkey Biscuits. I do think Coinmetro could survive without XCM. I don't want it to, but if we're throwing out potentials, I think it could. Understand that XCM is important to us. That doesn't mean that the problem is easy to solve or we haven't tried to solve it. We also don't want to take on risks that potentially make an actual problem worse. What we have now is a price floor that some don't like, some love, which has caused, because of a lot to do with causality because of the market, has caused a drying up of liquidity. It's all fixable. Had we not had that floor, we may be in a different situation that would be harder to fix. That could have been lots of our biggest supporters that still support us leaving. It could have meant price now literally under 1 cent, which, may mean that there might be more volume in the books, but may not make Coinmetro interesting to some investors. There's a whole bunch of things that could have happened. I don't want to speculate on what they might have been, to be honest, or spend too much time on that. Just know that XCM is important to us. It is definitely a focus and has been, but now it is going to become literally front and center, and will be something that the community will also help us in reviving. How are you doing? Share anything you're excited about. You can. I'm excited about a lot of stuff, actually. There's a lot of things. There's always things going on here that excite me. I think this renewed focus on the business that we're going to roll out to you guys early next year is exciting. All aspects of it are exciting. There's pieces in there that I think could potentially revolutionize not just our business, but many other businesses in and outside of crypto in the years to come. I'm excited about what it means for our narrative. I'm excited about a lot of the things that are going to be coming out, and some of the things that have already come out. I'm excited about even these small changes that you guys are seeing in the app that are going to lead to some really big changes. I'm excited about Dubai license. I'm excited about the future that I see for the company, and how all these different changes are going to affect it. There's lots of stuff to be excited about. And a lot of different little small biz dev things that have been in discussion, also excited about fundraising, even though it's not easy, it's still exciting. So there's always exciting stuff. Hi, Kevin. Like the new app. I only missed the wallet. I don't get the assets overview. Okay. Or am I the only one keeps the good work? Well, I guess people maybe been confused. We got some feedback that wallet was confusing because maybe that's I don't know why it was confusing. Maybe because people thought it was an external wallet. Maybe because people thought that was just for fiat currency. Maybe people thought it was just for stuff they own. They couldn't see their data there. I don't know. But yeah, share your feedback, man. Share the feedback on the feedback channel in Telegram. If we get enough feedback, you should know by now we make a lot of changes based on feedback we get. We don't take all feedback into account, but when we see that a lot of people are seeing the same things, well, we want to make you guys happy. That's what we're here to do, really. What microcap on Coinmetro actually has the biggest potential to you? We've listed a lot of stuff recently, man. I don't know if I can keep up. I know a few things we haven't listed yet that are coming that I definitely find interesting. I think one of the great things about crypto is that, historically in a bull market, as long as you pick things that have enough potential to get enough people excited, you're going to do well. And that's fairly exciting. So really it's just trying outside of long-term investments where you are looking at teams and understanding what the teams are doing and applying all kinds of different formulas to see whether or not you want to invest in these things. In a short term, in a bull market, you're really looking at like just a mathematical formula. I mean, and that mathematical formula is simple. All-time high, all-time low, current price. Take a look at some volumes, and that's about it. And if the thing has existed long enough to see the last bull market, see what it did in the last bull market, how much volume it took, comparatively speaking to what volumes it potentially can have now based on current volumes versus volumes right before the last bull run. And I mean market wide. Pretty much anything could be that gem, is what I'm trying to say. I would look at it like a hedge fund. I wouldn't put all my eggs in one basket. I'd find somewhere between 5 and 30 assets and spread out, start to see what happens. When you feel you got a winner on your hands, move your assets, double down, take profits. Hey, Kev, hope all is well with you, brother. Just wanted to say I appreciate all the recent listings and positive updates to the app, solid moves and resources. Keep it up. Thanks, Adam. I really appreciate it. I'll let everybody else know as well, because that's absolutely not me. But I'm glad to take some, immediate credit for it. But definitely, it's the team, and it's our product team, and it's our tech team, and it's our marketing team, and it's our support team. Every single one of those teams, liquidity management, FinOps, everybody has a piece of why those things happen, right? So, amazing. Thank you. Can we list tokens with lots of volume? I think Bitcoin has a lot of volume. Ether as well. I don't mean to say that to be like an asshole or something, just saying. But I would caution, now, I'm not saying that Tau or Cubic specifically, that this means anything for them, but I would caution you when you see listings that aren't listed anywhere at first, or only small exchanges that no one's ever heard of that probably have fake volume, or if it's just all OTC, price action and volume are probably not something you can count on until you start to see at least similar price action and volume across multiple small exchanges or across one or two large exchanges. Now, having said that, the two that you have listed, I have seen talked about a lot internally. And so my magic 8 ball is jumping. With the new listings, what are your plans for finding market makers for the new pairs? Are you relying on organic trading for most pairs, except the big ones? We are in talks now with several different LPs and market makers, which will cover about 90% of the listings to provide liquidity. And then the other 10%, we're currently in talks to find a solution. So the goal here over the next few months is to have non-organic liquidity on every asset on Coinmetro. Can we list tokens that are hard to obtain and still not on every exchange? Safe Trade was running millions in trading volume on Cubic, Tau, a few others. I want the gems back, not the general tokens. Well, when we were listing gems, everybody wanted general tokens. When we list general tokens, or whatever we're going to call them, everybody wants the gems. I'd like to see a mix of both. I have to understand that there's a lot of resources that are involved there. And just because Tau and Cubic are doing millions of volume on other exchanges, one, doesn't mean they actually are. Two, doesn't mean they'll do that volume here. But it doesn't mean they won't. So I'll throw that out as well. What I will say is we will get to a point where we're listing more gems and native chains and native tokens. It's a process. We're not a huge company. We still have to manage our own resources. And while everybody wants something and everybody thinks what they want will make a huge difference for us, it's been kind of tried and tested that most of the things that individuals think will help us actually have not, but some have. And so we have to be selective about where we use our resources. I'll say it again. The two things that are mentioned here, I've heard a lot about. And so, but that's not the end all for that. That alone is not going to make Coinmetro into the next Kraken. There's more work to be done, and which means we have to prioritize things because we don't have the same, size of. Have you ever said fruit flies all over the place? Oliver left a banana in a wastebasket here. Wastebasket. That's a boomer word. Trash can. I don't know. And there has to be 6.7 million fruit flies in the office. My mother, who's visiting, who's not going to come on camera, so don't ask. You might have seen her actually in an AMA back in the day. I was in her house one time and she tried to duck under the camera, but clearly was like on all fours crawling with a towel. Look for that. I'm sure if you ask like chatbot AI or something, Kevin's mom in an AMA, it'll probably find it. I'm sure it will. Why wouldn't that be built in to any AI machine? I mean, what are they, amateurs? What did I go to the next one? Oh yeah, sorry. I was eluding the question. I don't even know what I was answering. I'm going off on lots of tangents today. I'm having fun. Sorry, guys. Retracted it to make more sense. Don't know. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Anyway, I think it made sense. Hopefully my answer made sense. Maybe it didn't. I don't know. If we could calculate the yield of XCM Mars program, then it would make it more appealing to buy XCM. XCM may have little volume, but Mars tokens do. Okay. I understand the reasoning. What I'm saying is that one, there's probably some reason why we didn't do this in the beginning. It may be due to the fact that it can be hard to explain why, let's say, the math on one token doesn't match the math on another, meaning we seem to take a very small cut or lose money on one token versus taking a much larger cut on another versus whatever. So there might have been a business reason. To be honest, I don't recall what it was. I might not even have been involved in the conversation. But I agree with you. I think with the kind of refocus on XCM, inevitably Mars, tiers, all those things are a piece of that puzzle. At some point, you're probably going to receive a survey. Maybe not you specifically, Timson, but I mean, somebody out there is going to receive a survey. We want to understand what you guys think we should be doing, and we want to get your feedback. I think we always want to do that, but on these specific things, you're probably going to receive some type of survey. In the end of the day, I think you're right. Transparency is always good. So the more transparency we give, I think the better. Makes our lives easier, to be honest. Even if in the beginning it might make them more difficult. So I agree with you. And I think it's a good idea. I think it's also something that should be in our Telegram feedback channel, to be honest. I think I got to the bottom of the questions. We're 35 minutes in, guys. I got a bit more time if somebody wants to throw out another question. So I'll hang around here for a few seconds. Oh, Ken. Boo, boo, boo. Sale, anyone seeing this video later on, why they should give, kind of putting you on the spot, but you will do well in the moment. Okay. So you're asking me to like put on a sale for XCM. Sure. So start your recording now. Look, I know there's a lot of exchange tokens out there, some of them better than others. Whether we're talking about price points or whether we're just talking about integrations or use cases outside of the exchange, every exchange token has something to offer that others may not. When you look at the exchange tokens that have done spectacularly well for at least some time or still doing well in terms of price points, you're going to look at the larger exchanges. You're going to look at something maybe like Binance. You're going to look at something maybe like crypto.com, even though that token obviously has seen better days, still there's liquidity. And when you look at use cases, Binance is another good example of use cases for a token. Now, when you look at XCM and you look at Coinmetro as a whole, we all know that exchange tokens aren't stock, right? But we also all know that that's how they're traded. People trade them as if they're trading a piece of the exchange. Coinmetro has built all its own tech. We own all of it. Now, from a valuation standpoint, one VC will tell you that's important. Another one will say you it's not. But from an internal operations standpoint, we are able to customize things we want on the fly. As our team grows, as we gotten bigger teams, as teams influx, as more money comes in, more resources, we can do things that others can't. We're not reliable on third parties. We don't rely on third parties. We have things that we can expand and sell to other exchanges, et cetera, banks, what have you. We have the ability to build a lot of cool stuff on top of those rails. XCM initially, because initially we were just an exchange and we're slowly starting to build out from that and become more of a fintech platform. But XCM was very much integrated into our systems. Every trade that happens, we take that base currency and we use it to buy XCM, and that XCM, a portion of that is then burned. Used to be vaulted, now it's burned. Now, we're going to go into the future, adding more and more of those type of automated mechanisms into the products that we offer. We're built a bit different. One, I already said we own our IP. Two, we absolutely put customers first. Three, from day one, we've always been driven by regulatory first, rules first. Now, that doesn't mean we don't push the envelope and we don't try to make things better for our end users. But what it does mean is that we have a seat at the table. If we want one, we are able to talk to regulators. We know the game. We've been able to maintain, bank accounts, et cetera, even when there's been these upswings and downswings. Now, this is a much broader kind of pitch for Coinmetro in general. And I'd love to talk about what the future holds, but I got to hold that back from you guys for right now because it's something that we want to release early next year. But it's going to make, I think, XCM such a much more integral part of the exchange. The way that XCM is priced, even with the price floor, the entire market cap, comparatively speaking to what our last valuation was and what our future valuations will be, is just a bargain. And yes, the price floor may have caused some illiquidity indirectly, and that's going to get fixed. And, you need to have a bit of vision. You need to have a bit of trust. You need to have a bit of faith. You need to believe in the vision we have. But believing in that vision, I think in terms of price point, in terms of what we can offer, in terms of integrations in the future, in terms of how we interact with you guys, I don't think there's really anybody that can touch us. And I think we're only going to get better. So that's a long, sordid pitch, and you put me on the spot there, but I hope that got my point across. But thanks, Ken. Did you look at Space Mesh? Not hereby. I didn't. Tag me on it. Please send me a link or something. Hey, Kevin, there's been a lot of listings and app updates lately, which is really nice to see. Is there any reason it speeds up now with less people than today? Is there a reason it speeds up now with less people than today? And will the momentum continue? Well, it's just a shift in what we're focusing on. So we know a lot of people were asking for that in the past, though. In order to do that, you need to do other things first that maybe aren't as visible to the public. And so it's something we've always wanted to do, and it just became the right time, I think, for us to do it internally. We'll see him have an NFT market. While we do own Ignium, Ignium has an NFT market, so you could say we already do. Will we put focus on it? I think NFTs, non-fungibles, have a big piece and will own a big piece of the broader digital asset space in the future. But I don't think it's going to be because of crazy apes, hungry dogs, and disastrous dinosaurs. I honestly, and penguins who look like chickens, and bald astronauts named Ken. I don't know why I used the name Ken. I apologize for that. That was savage. I'm just having a ball today, guys. I don't know what to say. I think we will, but I don't think it's going to be an NFT market like you see nowadays. I would want to see something much more useful and innovative, potentially drawing in an initial NFT, using non-fungibles for ownership of LLCs, decentralized organizations, basically giving someone a toolkit that they can create a decentralized company, have all the ownership on NFTs, have those tradable on a billboard market, have their utility token generated and tradable on our exchange market, be able to raise funds, push tokenized debt and equity even through NFTs. So yes, I think that the short answer to that is yes. Will all stablecoins be made illegal to make room for official CBCs at some point in time? I don't think so. I think the regulation around stablecoins is going to get a bit tighter, but I think even governments understand that allowing private money and public money is probably not a bad idea, especially because both options are traceable and trackable. And that's something they want. And from a consumer standpoint, taking the digital currency from a government or being able to interact with one that is available, again, it's still backed by the same government currency. So it's not like you're getting away from the government, but I would make the comparison of the National Postal Service in any country versus DHL, FedEx, UPS. Well, maybe not UPS. They kind of suck. But at the end of the day, some of those services, DHL is a good one. I believe the German Post handles a lot of. I might even own DHL at this point. I don't know. It's still a lot of the same routes, a lot of the same planes, a lot of the same whatever buses, tanks. I'm sure it's not tanks. Move that mail, but you have a private sector company who just does it better and more optimal. And so I think the government knows that that's not the worst thing in the world. So no, I don't think that's going to happen, but it's going to get harder for stable coins that just aren't backed by anything to be able to operate. Are we going to make it? Yes, we're going to make it, man. If I wasn't still confident of that, you wouldn't see me doing these things for sure. It'd be hard for me to get out of bed in the morning. Let's put it that way. Are you basing yourself more on talent now that is Oliver? Are you basing yourself more on talent now that Oliver is based in the UK? Well, Oliver isn't in the UK yet, but he will be. I'm always going to spend some time here in Talon. Personally speaking, I got some things I want to do. But when it comes to the business, I will always have a piece of myself here. I will always be traveling back and forth. We are going to become more and more of a remote office space because as we grow and move into different regions, we've tried the kind of localized office method. And to be honest, while in some ways I still like that, I think having a more flexible environment is suiting us better, especially as we grow. We have seen an increase in daily volume lately. Do we have some insights into why, or is it solely a general trend? I think it's partially a general trend. Another aspect of that, I think, is most of the customers we are now getting is through mobile. Our mobile app has been improving, so I think that is a piece of the puzzle as well. We've also seen some improvements in optimization and onboarding, which I think is helping. We've also seen reactivation of old clients, partially because of market sentiment, but also partially because of just our marketing team pushing things out to previous customers. And so I think it's a combination, but definitely having the mainstream market say Bitcoin is up helps. Very good shout out, Hopium. Thank you. That was good. Thanks, Ken. Appreciate that. Do you think little AI community management tokens have a big future? Also, Can I also get your thoughts on these new real estate tokens such as prop? Last question, are we moving into a bull market? We'll eventually move into a bull market. I don't think we're there yet. I talked about that at the beginning of the show. Real estate tokenization was way too early when I was talking about it a long time ago. I think it's still a bit too early. I don't think most companies have figured out where the value add is for tokenization. The easy value add is liquidity, ability for people to invest in things because they now can't buy a home because they're outpriced, but they can buy a piece and still profit from, the upswing, et cetera, et cetera. But that's a real high-end value add, and I don't think most companies, and I haven't looked into props specifically, but I've yet to see a value add that really is going to be, the one I think that clicks. Community management tokens. I do believe that investors, especially younger investors specifically, want to have a specific amount of say, control, and connection to businesses they invest in. So community management tokens, yeah, I mean, we've seen in the past tokens that are connected to governance do really well in bull runs. On paper, you would not really understand why, but I think part of it has to do with this idea that why do I become a client somewhere if I can be a client and an owner, or a client and a decision maker? So yeah, they very much may have a swing. I don't know why I answer those backwards. So $1 party and talent or somewhere more exclusive. I don't know yet, man, but I think it's probably going to be somewhere else. But it might not be. Maybe we could have multiple €1 parties in different jurisdictions and, have a screencast and everybody kind of parties together. That'd be cool. Rebranding was a huge mistake. The brand has lost its spirit somehow. Plus the deep sleep of XCM for me as earliest investor feels disappointing. Not able to have my old investment available. I get that. I mean, well, rebranding being a huge mistake. I don't know about that one. I like a lot about the original branding, but I also think that branding would be difficult to go from where we were to, let's say, where we want to be 10, 20, 30, 100 times bigger than we are now with the branding we had. I liked it. You liked it. I'm not sure the mass populaces got the same reaction out of that branding. And I think this branding is a bit different. I think more about the branding in terms of the icons, et cetera, and the website. It's more about the narrative. And I think the narrative has been fine-tuned. And I think it was a very good rebranding in that sense. And yes, as you call it, deep sleep of XCM. Again, it's not that it hasn't been worked on, but there's a lot of pieces of the puzzle that need to be put together. I can assure you that it is a major piece of a absolutely, I think, epic. It's not so much a change, but a refocus of our efforts and a very long-term outlook on where Coinmetro is headed along with XCM. So I hope that's going to put a smile back on your face, Vladimir. And I'd love for you to reach out to me on Telegram, tag me at Kevin Murcko, or DM me at Kevin Murcko. Make sure it's Kevin Murcko and not Kevin Murcko or Kevin Murcko 1 or 17 or whatever. Make sure it's me, please. Ask for a VM or something to verify. Because I'd love to get your feedback once we release that information in the coming Q1 of next year. I think you should grow the beard again. Will grow quicker than the hair up top. Oh, it definitely grow the hair up. Yeah, I just kind of went, I don't know. I keep switching up. I got like Chia Pet going on right now. There's a little bit of hair, but less beard. And then 2-3 weeks ago, I had more beard, but no hair. I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing really. I'm trying to see like if people will just not recognize me from one day to the next. But I like the beard a little bigger. I agree with you, but I also like less hair on top. Maybe we should take a poll. €1 prediction or guesstimate timescale, please, just for fun. All right. This is me throwing all caution into the wind, but here we go. We released this new focused business push by March. It takes us till June to start to see traction. By November, December, Q4 next year, we start to see a bull market start to come to life. We see the coronation of a new president. Well, more than likely a new one, but a president, a new term in the U.S. And I think with several different tactics, there's a potentiality that there's no floor in that time period because there isn't a need for one. So I think €1 could be possible at the end of Q1 into Q2 2025. And that's a realistic prediction based on lots of different talks we've been having internally, lots of different things that are currently being carved into stone, what we want to do, roadmaps, really fine-tuning, getting rid of a lot of the noise, focusing on one major project every quarter. That doesn't mean we don't do more, but focusing on one major project every quarter, really putting the entire kind of brain power and operational power of Coinmetro behind those endeavors and crushing it out of the park. Into the hilt anyway. I don't know what I'm doing really. All right, man. I mean, I feel your pain. I'll do my best. I'll do my best. I wish I understood staking. For a while there, you were sending out email blasts promoting staking. I read the articles, but I still don't quite grok it. Sure, Jan. So let's get all the, crypto-esque terminology. Now, what I'm going to say to you here is not exactly what it is. Let me put a nice asterisk on that because, but it's going to be it's going to be words that anybody can understand that's ever had a bank account. Okay. So this is an example for you. So it's basically like you having money in a checking account, not making any interest, taking your money and popping it into a savings account or a CD, certificate of deposit, and getting interest on your money paid in the same money. So, if you have a CD in USD, they give you more USD. Here, if you have THT coin or XCM or Ether and you lock it up for a specific period, you're going to get more ETH, more THT, etc. If it's XCM, you also get the Mars assets. So you get a little bit of a bunch of other assets that are also staked on the platform. Simple as that. It's not actually interest. Each protocol, so each coin that has its own protocol, or each token that may sit on another protocol, like tokens that sit on Ethereum, for example, have different methodologies by way of which they either reward or generate these tokens that they're using to incentivize you to stake. Why would they do that? The majority of that reason is to remove your assets from the circulating supply. So you're not selling, you're holding. The more people that hold, price can go higher. Simple as that. I hope that makes sense to you. If not, hit me up on Telegram at Kevin Murcko. Ask me again. I'll voicemail you. Voice message you. It's not really a voicemail. It's a boomer thing. I apologize. You're welcome. We can't. We can't. Only one we can't. One is strong. I think that's it, guys. We're 52 minutes and 44 seconds in. I think I got through all the questions. Thanks a lot for this. I really love doing these things. Maybe one day I'll do more of these. My head of marketing tells me not to. So I don't know if there was a punchline to that one. There probably was, but I lost it. Anyway, I had a great time. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate all the support. Always will appreciate the support. Bottom of my heart. Thank you so much. I'm going to do everything I can to make, hopefully, 2024, 2025, 2026 exciting for all of us and exciting in a good way. Have a great rest of your Thursday. Have a great Friday. Have a great weekend coming up. Spend time with friends and family. Do it physically, for Christ's sake. If you're going to wear a mask, just wear it under your chin. I mean, just because, why not? I don't know. It makes me giggle, and I would appreciate it. And of course, when you're out wearing that mask under your chin, please just scream XCM every few seconds, and then an explanatory sentence. You can pick what you say. Just make sure you mention coinmetro.com. And if you can do it in a voice either like an auctioneer or the guy that would do the monster truck rally commercials in the US back in the 80s, Sunday, 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 that'd be amazing. And please film yourself doing it and putting it on YouTube or TikTok and tag me, because that would make my day. And that's it for me, guys. Have a great one. Thanks again. Speak soon. And if not, tag me on Telegram at Kevin Murcko. Ask me a question. Tweet me at Kevin Murcko on Twitter. I'm always available. I'll read them. I'll get back to you. If I don't get back to you, just keep pinging me, man. I eventually will. I won't get upset. I promise. And cheers.